Have you ever found it really difficult to have a conversation with somebody, to broach a difficult subject and have a discussion about it that was productive without getting emotional? This might be the video that could help you. Hello everyone, my name is Rich Pearson. I'm a professional counsellor and psychotherapist based in Falmouth in Cornwall, and today we're going to be talking about non-violent communication. Non-violent communication is a communication strategy which, as the title suggests, uses the idea of non-violence in order to communicate things and achieve a better outcome. Non-violent communication was created by Marshall Rosenberg, a clinical psychologist. He came up with this idea that there was a certain structure that you could apply to any given discussion which could help people in order to have better discussions and essentially for them to not turn into arguments. Now, the non-violent part of this may seem confusing to people because people may think, well, I don't have violent discussions with people. We're not talking about physical violence here. We're talking about any form of, violence which may be passive-aggressive, violence which may be psychological or just in our tone of voice or anything like that. Rosenberg came up with this idea of non-violent communication and he broke it down into four main parts. These four main parts were things that could be done on either side of the conversation and hopefully done in tandem with people. The idea would be that you would use observations, feelings, needs, and requests. Those are your four main parts: observations, feelings, needs, and requests in terms of having any conversation with anyone about any kind of subject. So, say for example, you're talking to someone about, I don't know, say you have a housemate and the house is a little bit dirty or messy or something like that. You want to have a communication with them so that they understand where you're coming from. Now, what a lot of people will do is they'll reach straight for essentially violence. They'll say, for goodness sake, Jeff, can you not just tidy up after yourself? Wouldn't it be better if you just sorted things out and did things? Come on, man, I'm doing everything here and you're not doing anything. That's how we end up having one person being resentful, one person being angry, and the house is still a mess at the end of it probably. This is also a kind of example of the adult-adult communication style versus the parent-child communication style, and I'll go on to that in another video later on. But what you could do with your housemate Jeff, which would be better than just busting their ass about the fact that they haven't tidied up around the place, is to try and employ non-violent communication, which again stems from observations, feelings, needs, and requests. Observations, feelings, needs, and requests. So to start with, you observe the situation. Jeff is sat on the sofa playing video games, but he's left all the stuff that he used to make his breakfast with on the side and it's a mess. Feelings. How do you feel about this? I feel annoyed. It annoys me that Jeff has done this. I think that it's an example that Jeff doesn't care about me, or at least that's how I feel about it. Needs. What do I need Jeff to do to make this situation better? What do I need to happen so that I don't walk into the room and feel upset or annoyed or disrespected? And then requests. You make a request. Jeff, can you do the dishes as soon as you've finished with them? Can you tidy up? Just by doing that, what you've done is you've taken the emotional aspect out of the situation and you've narrowed it down to what it is exactly that you need to talk about. You've taken away the personal slight that you may have felt because Jeff has left his dishes on the side for the third week in a row. And when Jeff comes back to you and says, oh yeah man, that's fine, I'll do it later, you can respond, and you can be forceful and still be non-violent. You can be firm and still not be aggressive in that way. You can say, Jeff, I really need for you to do the dishes. It affects me and it makes me feel uncomfortable. The big thing about non-violent communication is you have to be honest in order for it to work. You have to be able to be congruent. Jeff, when you leave all the dishes on the side, there's no room for me to be able to make my breakfast, and sometimes I get up after you and it's a mess and I don't like it. And again, once you have a response from Jeff, you maybe have to go through the whole process again of observing, right, well, I've asked Jeff nicely and he's responded nicely, but it's not got what I need to happen. And again, These are needs, not wants. You can't have the world in every perceivable way exactly how you want it to be, but you can achieve some things out of it. And so the discussion continues back and forwards, hopefully again referring each time to observations, feelings, needs, and then making those requests at the end. This is a really positive way in order that people can have more discussions and less arguments, more communication and less conflict. And it's a really, really helpful way, and I've recommended it to almost every single one of my clients. As I say, it's a really helpful way of getting people to communicate in a more productive way, because it's about actually getting results out of something rather than just embracing the inner chimp, the inner child, the inner thing that just wants to rage and shout and rant about things. So if you want to know more about this, there's loads of information on the internet about non-violent communication, and I thoroughly recommend that you go out and try practicing it in your day-to-day life. I practice it as much as I can, but I do find it really difficult sometimes not to, because I am human and we all struggle. But if we can all try and just use something like this a little bit, we can look at making the world a slightly better place as we go along. Thanks very much for watching this, everyone, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please do subscribe to the channel, as I'll be putting more videos up as often as I can. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all soon.